Hey, welcome back everyone to another video, and in this one, we are back and sort of the final-ish video. After this, I'm going to pack this up of the cheapest thin client and available on Amazon. Now, I had a good talk with the people who make it, and they are based from India in India, anyways. And so I had a good talk with them, and I there's a lot to unpack about this product and their company as well. So maybe in future, if I get a hold of some of their better products, I will do a full talk about them, what they actually do. They're pretty interesting company. So this is one of their, let's clear the stock out, it's not a very good product sort of a thing. So yeah, today's video we are basically just going to try out the GPU drivers on this stuff. So this is the All-Winner 810, and that has the Mali-400 driver, which Mali-400 GPU, which actually has the Lima driver available for it, which is the open source reverse engineered driver for Mali-400, 420, and 450. I don't know if there are any 400 other 400 series ones, but yeah, those are actually supported pretty well. So yeah, that project was upstreamed some time ago. The issue is that the RAM is too low, so running anything intensive is going to give you a lot of trouble. We look into that, and it's only 256 megabytes. And not a lot of distros. The only two I know that fully support Lima and ARP have been tested are Fedora and Arch Linux. Fedora takes up a bit more memory since it's more workstation focused, but Arch Linux actually does not, and or Arch Linux, whatever you want to call it, that does not. That's still a bit better from the low end spec because it's a very basic install, so we can try something out there. So I have Arch Linux installed on the SD card right there, and we'll try it out and we'll boot it and see how that works. So yeah, I've Debian Buster. I don't think till SID Debian is ready to get Lima or Panfrost working. Their Mesa versions are too old. With Ubuntu, it's the same thing. 20.04 has a correct Mesa version, but they don't build uh, KMSRO target, which is required for Lima and Panfrost. And it's a pain. Fedora is the one. Fedora and Arch Linux are sort of the distros that are doing it right at the moment. So with that said, let's power it on. Let's have the terminal visible, and this is the HDMI display, which should be visible as well. I will turn that on in a second. So let's go ahead, attach power, and see the terminal light up. So there goes the terminal, and that's the HDMI display. So we will wait for it to boot. So again, U-boot 2017. Arch Linux uses a bit older U-boot build, but that's fine. It basically works flawless. So just waiting for it to boot. Now there's more activity at this point on the UART side of things, whereas the HDMI display just displays the Tux logo. So you can also see right here the Cerdus driver loaded. So that is for the hardware decoding and encoding for videos, and it does a pretty good job. That is something I might look into with a much more modern device down the line. Not sure if I'll be able to do in this one, but here we are booted up, and let's go ahead and log in. Now I'm logging in as root, and just because I'm lazy, so there you go. Now the other thing is that's logged in. So if I run StarText, I don't have a Zinet RC right now, So if I run startx, it just runs with 3 xterm. It's not window even, like it's just xterm without a window border, so you can't move it anywhere. So just pure triple xterm output, I guess. And so yeah, so this is what it loads with, and this is the only configuration I'm able to work with the limited amount of memory it has. So if I run glx gears and just add info in front of it so that we get to see some stuff. You can see it says Mali-400, 2.1 Mesa, and Lima. So it is using the Lima driver properly. Now I have tried other things which I'll talk about in a second, but yeah, so GLX gears is working fine. The only other thing I was able to run with this is the GL Mark II demo. So if you go GL Mark II and ES2, and I'll just annotate that so that you guys can see good FPS counter on there. Now that starts up with no issues, shows Lima and Mali-400 and OpenGL ES2.0. I'm not sure why it's not showing it right now. It should be. Alright, let me reboot it. I think it's still limited by memory. So because we ran, I don't know how, but I think because we ran GLX gears and then we started running GL Mark II, it didn't like it. So let's reboot it quick and let's see if it works then. Alright, we are back once more. So let's go root and start X. Right, third time's the charm. Move to the correct block because we cannot move anything, and let's start this and see if it works. So yeah, basically runs right off. You can see it says Lima and Mali-400 and OpenGL ES 2.0. So the GL Mark II without the ES crashes with a segmentation fault. Not sure why that's happening. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was the sort of RAM limit issue with modern distros. So I've also tried building a minimal build root image, but the problem with build root is it does not have all the target of Mesa loaded. So you cannot enable KMSRO, you cannot enable Lima. You can enable Lima, but you cannot enable Sun XI DRM. So that's the actual quote unquote video part. So that's like the hardware HDMI part, which and that that puts out the display, whereas the GPU in itself just does the rendering part. So the Sunox DRM is not available. The Lima Gallium driver is available. So kind of a mismatch, so that doesn't work out of the box. And then there is the Yocto situation where there is a Meta Sun XI, but like it's still in the master branch with the enablement of open source GPU drivers. So if you enable that, it doesn't build Xorg for some weird reason. Yeah, there's all sort of issues with those sort of minimal builds, so I've just not tried them at all. uh, there is weird artifacting that I've just noticed happening on the screen where it gets wobbly. I can see that as well. So not sure what's exactly wrong with it. um, it could be that it's like using a slightly different VCC for GPU or something like that, which is different from the QB board, and it's not working perfectly. But for the time being, it seems fine. The FPS is around what I've come to expect from a Mali-400, sort of like the early days of Pi 0 open source or Pi 1 open source drivers. But again, Mali-400 is along the same lines, but not as good. Um, yeah, so it is doing weird artifacting. I'm not surprised there. And again, this is Mesa 20 on Linux kernel 5.6. So it's pretty much finished work at this point as far as I remember, but I could be terribly wrong. And as you can see, I did add annotate, but you can't see the FPS render properly at the bottom of the display, so that's not working right now. Earlier demos it was showing up just fine, so I'm not sure what's wrong with that either. However, I'll do another run with um, GL Mark II DRM just to give like a full view of it, and or maybe like a separate video, but that crashes with segmentation fault right at around this point, so I'm not sure what's happening there. So I'll record it separately and upload it as a separate. Oh right, so it just crashed again. It didn't completely crash, so it didn't run the scene terrain, which is a pretty demanding one, and it requires some very specific functions enabled, so I'm not sure what happened there. Again, many it just I'm just seeing a large dump on the serial console. So yeah, something didn't work out. So you can see it just dumped itself like this. Out of memory kill, which I'm not surprised. It is very low on memory, and it's sure like it loaded the textures and it just died. So Killer came in and killed that. Wasn't fun at all. Uh, right, so that didn't work. But as much as it did, it showed some performance numbers um, to compare. So I guess that's about it. I hope there would be more I could experiment with, but it's really limited in RAM, and I cannot open even a simple i3. So let's show you what happens when you try to open i3 window manager. So let me just exit out of this. So I have a Zenit i3 uh, backup file. So let me just move that to a proper rename that to Zenit RC, and then when we start X, it starts to load i3, and that's only like um, that just says exec i3, which is just the minimal stuff. So if we do a start X, you will get a long blank screen. Well, so it hangs here, and then a long blank screen, finally a cursor, and that's it. At this point it's completely frozen. There's no hope of rebooting because the UART serial will not respond. The only hope we have right now is to completely pull the plug on it. And so yeah, so that's about it. Kind of quirky uh, stuff. Totally nice to play with. It was a fresh experience. And yeah, looking forward to buying weird stuff online, I guess, again. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this small benchmark kind of a thing, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.